I'm Steve Lackmeyer, and my guest today is Mike Carrier, head of the city's Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're here in the Oklahoman studios, and we are in an age of branding. So it's rather interesting. We had the state Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell unveil their brand, and we found out, yes, a lot of people are interested in this sort of thing. It got a lot of debate and discussion going, and now we have a brand about to be unveiled by Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau. The timing, 1 week apart, was that planned?
No, it was totally incidental. We knew that the state was doing a big branding campaign. Matt had been talking about that ever since the election, so not a surprise. We just didn't know when it was going to be. Our branding effort is done for a specific campaign that we are launching this week, and so it was a necessity that we get it done and get it launched.
Now, what's interesting is, we were talking about this, and it's been a while since Oklahoma City had a branding. And the last one, from what we can tell, would have been, imagine that. Imagine that. Oklahoma City's last branding dates back to the mid-90s, which is now being used by the state. And now we're finally getting around to an official branding campaign for Oklahoma City. So without any more delay, where are we going?
Well, the brand that we are introducing is called the Modern Frontier. And it can either be Oklahoma City, the Modern Frontier, or the Modern Frontier, Oklahoma City. And we purposely did that so we can use it in a variety of different ways. But the idea was to develop a brand that literally anybody in Oklahoma City can use. It can be used for so many different things. Obviously, tourism is our concern, but economic development. You look at all of our different industries that are here. A lot of people can use it if they would like to, and we don't mind if they do.
Now, what went into creating this branding?
Well, as I said, we did this because we are starting a spring and summer campaign aimed at pure tourists, the visitor traffic. And we knew that we needed to do something to grab people, to make them say, what's that all about? Why is Oklahoma City the Modern Frontier? And so we hired Nominee, which is a very fine branding firm here in Oklahoma City, to do some research. They did one-on-one research discussions with people from all over the city and all different walks of life. They did a lot of research about what people think about Oklahoma City and Oklahoma, and the presence of mind that people from across the country, and particularly in this region, have about Oklahoma City. So secondary research there, and just a variety of different things. And then started talking about, here are the specific things that people are seeing. Here's the things that people are saying about Oklahoma City. And coming up with single words or small lines or things of that nature. And so through a process that took several weeks, we kept narrowing it down and narrowing it down. And the Modern Frontier really started to define what people think about us. The Western heritage, the background of Oklahoma City, the terrain, the geography, all of those different things, and the historical impression, at least, whether it's accurate or not, but the historical impression about this part of the country.
And I got to see some of the methodology and some of the responses done on surveys where people both locally, regionally, and across the country, meeting planners. And it's fascinating. I really thought that, maybe we're still stuck in a disaster mode, bombing and tornadoes, but it's actually a lot more complicated than that.
It really is. We do get a lot of questions about, tornadoes and other weather phenomenon. We still get comments and questions about 1995 and the bombing. But there are a lot more positive comments coming up.
I noticed that.
More and more. We have a research program that we're involved in right now that literally takes Facebook, or takes social media rather, and scrubs it every day and picks out every mention around the world of Oklahoma City.
Wow.
And you can do it with any city in the world. And it told us in the first year's data that came out that there is a reasonably positive attitude about Oklahoma City. There's not a negative attitude. So we're not starting with having to get rid of negativity. We're starting in a positive position that we can build on.
The thunder clearly helped. I saw that.
Yeah, thunder has helped tremendously. The recognition of a city that has a professional team, football, baseball, basketball, doesn't matter what it is, a professional sports team, the perception of that city is a lot different than the perception of cities that don't have those assets, because you see and hear so much on television, on social media and other ways about what that team is doing, here as well as other places. Our brand in terms of the Thunder is international, because you look at the makeup of the team. You look at the makeup of the NBA, and NBA is, and I don't have any research to validate this, but my feeling is NBA is probably the most international sports program there is. You certainly have internationals playing baseball, you have some playing football,
right.
Obviously soccer, but when you look at the NBA and you have people from Canada and US and Europe and South America and New Zealand, China, I mean, it's a very international sport. And people start talking about it. We've had people that people that have gone overseas, and you walk in and say, where are you from? From Oklahoma City. Thunder.
Yep.
Yeah. So that recognition is worth a lot.
I also noticed a pretty big reversal historically. I remember a time, especially 30 years ago, when this was seen as a dirty city, a boring city, and we're seeing none of the dirty comments. Instead, we're seeing a lot of it's a very clean city. I wonder if that's based on experiences downtown and in tourist areas, or how did that reversal happen?
Well, I think obviously the work that has happened here over the last 25 years with maps,
right?
The things that have changed because of that, the pride that our citizens have in the city, our city government, our county government, people are really working to take care of what we have and what we have been able to do with maps, and with other things like the street program, the downtown program. I'm drawing a blank on
180.
180.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, Project 180.
The rebuilding of streets and public spaces.
You start doing things like that, and there's a lot of pride internally here in the city about that, and people have a tendency to take care of it. We get a lot of comments, and in fact, we've got a customer advisory board made up of about a dozen meeting planners from around the country, and every time they're here, that's one of the remarks they make. This is a clean city. It's easy to walk around this city, and obviously there's been a lot of work done to improve the walkability. But even with wide streets like Gaylord, it's not that hard to get across Gaylord, because we've done some things to make it easier.
And our urban court's getting a lot better.
So we're very pleased with that, very proud of it. And it's reflecting in what we see in terms of interest from meeting planners, tourists, tour groups, all those things coming to Oklahoma City.
I'm curious as to what role local perception plays into the regional and national perception, because the CVB a few years ago, I can't remember when, but it really launched an ambitious effort on social media called Visit OKC, still ongoing, but it's very much aimed at marketing to locals when it comes to tourism, and it seems to have been successful.
I would agree with you. I think it's been very successful. Oftentimes, and I've seen it in a number of other cities, our own citizens are our worst promoters. Everybody in our industry talks about, you go to a front desk of a hotel and you ask the person at the front desk, I'm here for the day and I've got 3 hours, what is there to do here? Oh, there's nothing to do here. You got to go to Lawton, or you got to go to Ponca City, or you got to go to Tulsa. And that happens all over the country. I worked in Birmingham, Alabama for a while, and then worked in Tuscaloosa. And we sent people back and forth to each other because there was nothing to do in Birmingham. There was nothing to do in Tuscaloosa. That kind of perception is what we tried to attack. And again, you look at MAPS, what we've done with the MAPS program, the facilities we have built, the programs that have come about because of that, and then things like the revitalization of the area around the memorial after the bombing. You know, the way that Oklahoma City picked up themselves by their own bootstraps.
Yeah.
Yes. Federal government didn't come in and do that. We did it ourselves. And there's a lot of pride in that. And so now people are looking at that. They're looking at the other things that have happened. You know, the river from MAPS 1, and all of a sudden we're an international rowing site.
Yeah.
You know, and for the U.S. Olympic team, who
We
would have
just
ever
got a
thought?
big event coming up here
Yeah,
now,
we've
right?
got a huge event coming up. First of all, in May, the slalom kayak Olympic trials.
Yeah.
And then in August, International Canoe Federation is having a major event after the Olympics. So, you know, imagine those things happening in Oklahoma City. You know, who'd have thunk it?
So I can understand where an obvious target would be like the airport. Will Rogers, you'd want
Yep.
this campaign present.
Yep.
Do you see there being opportunities in places like the Boathouse District or in Bricktown or other tourist or visitor-oriented areas?
When you go on our website, there are 13 recognized districts in
Okay.
Oklahoma City. Adventure District, Paseo, Plaza, etc. Every one of those can use this campaign, however it best fits them. The state fairgrounds can use it. You know, Mike Knopp can use it at the Boathouse in other ways, you know, promoting the different events. You know, we want people all over the city to use it, you know, in a positive way to talk about what's so great about Oklahoma City, and that, you know, a modern frontier. You know, what does that mean? Well, the Innovation District, you know, that frontier of research, aerospace. We've got more astronauts from Oklahoma than anywhere else. Well, you know, that still is an opportunity here. Medical research from Oklahoma Medical Research Foundation, oil and gas research. It's not just drilling; it's research going on, you know, to benefit the whole world. And then, you know, the history of Oklahoma City, the history of this part of the country, and all the great things that have happened and that continue to happen here. So there's a lot of opportunity in that, and we want people to use it to tell our story.
And I understand there'll be advertising campaigns, both print, social media, broadcast across the region, country, or?
Specifically across the region, but today, with social media being what it is, you know, it will go international.
Okay.
You know, because the reach of social media is unbounded, and so, you know, we may not be paying to be in Europe, but we'll be in Europe because of social media, and so there will be a heavy campaign starting right here in Oklahoma City. You know, and part of this is we want to tell our own citizens, think about what we have, and let's be proud of it and tell the world.
Locals are seeing a lot of the Visit OKC campaign. Will they see much of this campaign as well?
Yes, very much so. We'll have billboards that will go live this weekend.
Okay.
We will have other forms of media. You mentioned the airport a few minutes ago. We're talking about clings to go on windows. Could be on the doors of the airport, could be on the windows on the streetcars, could be on the windows here at the Oklahoman or at the Chamber of Commerce or any other building around town. So, you know, we're going to be getting this out so that people can see it, and again try to instill that sense of pride in our community, and go tell your friends about it. Tell them all the great reasons to come visit Oklahoma City and be proud of us. We got a lot of pride in this city, and we see a lot of that already. Let's do even more.
As we wrap up here, I can't help but ask, we've had this vacuum of no branding for so long, and there was an effort, gosh, it seems, I guess it's almost 20 years ago, by Ray Ackerman, veteran ad man, leader at the chamber at one point, a dear friend of mine, and he kept on pushing for the big friendly, he and Lee Allen Smith, and it was never adopted. Critics pointed out, well, if we're going to claim to be big friendly, you know, we've got a problem with that when it comes to certain legislators and them being seen as being hateful, that we're not there yet, even, you know. and what does it mean to be friendly. It never got adopted. There were others who have embraced it. Was there any consideration of that during this campaign effort?
No, there wasn't, and two or three very simple reasons. First of all, there are a number of other cities that use the Big Friendly. I used to be head of the Convention Bureau in Columbia, South Carolina. They
Big
call
Friendly?
themselves the Big Friendly, and they've been doing it for years. I would ask you a question. Have you ever seen any advertising for any city anywhere in the world that said, we're not a friendly city?
Maybe Boston.
Everybody talks about being friendly. I've got a couple others in mind. Yeah. But everybody talks about being friendly. How do you measure that?
Yeah.
How can you hang your hat on being friendly?
Yeah.
And your point about legislators or other, every state has them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what state you go to. There are people in different positions within the state or within cities that are just not going to be easy to get along with. So,
right.
You live with that and you move on. We have a lot of very friendly people, and we get a lot of comments from visitors about how friendly Oklahoma City is and how genuine Oklahoma City is.
Right.
It's not fake, it's genuine. That's great, and we appreciate it, and we want our people to continue to be that way. But it's awfully hard to develop a campaign around friendly.
Yep.
And we wanted to do something that we could use for a long time to come. Virginia, their
Virginia
slogan,
is for lovers.
Virginia is for lovers. That started out as an advertising slogan, and now it's their state's brand.
How difficult is it, though, to come up with an iconic brand like that? You've got Keep Austin Weird, obviously the Big Apple, Chicago, Windy City. But it's not easy, is it?
It's not easy, and a lot of those things are just natural. I mean, Chicago they may be the windiest place in the country. If they're not, they're close. The Big Apple, as I understand, that came from a nightclub. There was a dance that started in South Carolina, and there's a long story about it. I don't remember all of it, but it started down there, and it went to New York to a place called the Big Apple nightclub, and took off from there. So there's a lot of ways that this happens. Most of them are kind of what we've done: get a group of people together and get some consensus around something. Our idea is that this will work great for the campaign we're doing. If it extends years beyond that, wonderful. If it doesn't, we'll come up with another line in a couple of years for another campaign.
We're still evolving, aren't we?
We very much are. I came here 12 and a half years ago. This city is not the same city that I moved to in 2007.
No.
It's changed dramatically, both physically as well as the emotional context. So many different ways. It continues to be a much better city every year as we move forward.
Mikey, thank you so much for
Steve,
joining
thanks
us.
for having me.
You can catch my coverage and all local news at www.oklahoman.com.